Module 4, Research on Visitors from Key Overseas Markets. This session looks at research from Visit Scotland on visitors from some of Scotland's key target markets. Again, this will be particularly relevant if you're wanting to attract international visitors to come physically to your location. First, let's look at statistics for international visitors to Scotland in 2018, the latest information currently available. As you can see, the USA is the #1 market in terms of numbers of trips to Scotland, the number of nights spent here, and in terms of expenditure. In fact, alone, the US accounts for almost 20% of tourist spend. Meanwhile, Canada accounts for around 5% of spend. So taken together, North America accounts for 1/4 of all expenditure. Europe accounts for half of all expenditure, and the key markets are Germany, France, Italy, and Spain, followed by the Netherlands, Sweden, and Norway. Ireland might be an interesting market for culture and heritage, given our proximity and Celtic connections, but it was worth just £24 million in terms of expenditure in 2018. The rest of the world outside Europe and North America accounts for the remaining 25% of spend, although Australia is the only country in the top 10 in terms of visitors and spend from these countries. Visit Scotland's Insight Department has produced country profiles on each of the main markets. These can be accessed from the link on the PDF of the slides, which you can download. These profiles show you top-line information on the value of each market, as well as information on the top reasons why visitors come to Scotland. Looking at the United States market profile, you can see that 2 of the top drivers or motivators for people from the US to come to Scotland are history and culture and Scottish ancestry. It's also noticeable how far out Americans plan their journeys, typically being around 10 months before their vacation. The following slide provides further detail. It shows history and culture motivated more than a half of US visitors to come to Scotland, a much stronger motivation compared to visitors from the UK or European markets. Also, 58% of US visitors had a connection to Scotland, with 1/3 having Scottish descendants. Looking at the information for Canada, we can see a similar and, if anything, stronger profile. History and culture is important for 57% of Canadian visitors. 70% of Canadian visitors had a connection to Scotland, and 38% have Scottish ancestry. We can also see that visitors from Canada start to plan about 9 months ahead. From the Germany market profile, we can see that Germany is the largest European market and second largest international market in terms of numbers of visits and expenditure in Scotland. History and culture is also a very important reason why Germans visit Scotland, and they typically plan over 6 months ahead. History and culture is an important factor for over 50% of visitors from Germany, well above the Visit Scotland average of 33%. The Germans find an affinity in the mysticism of Scotland. They want to explore the richness of Scottish history and legends, They're inspired by the images of Highlander, Outlander, and Braveheart, and are looking for an authentic experience, as you can see from the Germany fact sheet here. In 2018, France was Scotland's third largest international visitor market, behind the US and Germany. Scots history and culture was a really important factor, with 56% of French visitors saying it's why they chose to come to Scotland. The French typically plan their holidays about 4 months ahead. The Netherlands is another key market and was worth over £85 million in 2018. Again, history and culture is an important factor for 54% of visitors from the Netherlands, and Dutch visitors typically plan 6 months ahead. You can find copies of these country profiles on Visit Scotland's website, and you can access these from the link on the PDF of the slides. There are some worthwhile short reports on the tourism sector on the Business Gateway website. One of these covers ancestral tourism. If you haven't seen it, there's also a useful marketing toolkit on ancestral tourism on Visit Scotland's site. Before you carry on, take a moment to fill in your action plan. Has this information helped you determine which international market or markets to target internationally?